Let's talk about Azure App Services. We know at this point that with Azure App Service, you can create websites, mobile backends, web APIs for any platform or any device. Applications run and scale with ease on both Windows and Linux based environments. You got different deployment choices. So, you saw those deployment choices when we were creating a web application. Just for demonstration purposes, I'll click on Add to show you those options. So you can deploy your application on .NET, on Node.js. Then there's PHP as well in this drop-down menu. You can develop on ASP.NET, and you got Python environments, HTML. You can also customize these web environments. The new options that we have now is Ruby and Python 3.8 version. With all of these choices, you have more options to choose Azure App Service as a placeholder to host your web application. Azure App Service supports multiple languages and frameworks. You can also run PowerShell and other scripts or executables or background services. Developers always look forward for integration into DevOps tools like Azure DevOps, GitHub, Bitbucket, Docker Hub, or even Azure Container Repository. You can do continuous integration and deployment because there is easy integration available with all the tools. We spoke about scalability earlier, so you can scale up or scale out manually or automatically. That means that you will be hosting your applications anywhere in Microsoft's global data center, and then the app services will promise a high availability for the hosted applications. You can choose from more than 50 connectors for the enterprise systems such as SAP, SaaS services such as Salesforce, and internet services such as Facebook. You can also access your on premise data using hybrid connections and Azure Virtual Networks. That means that although your web application is hosted in Azure, you can still have a private connection to your on premise. Security folks will be concerned about security of your web application and compliance as well. App Service is ISO, SOC, and PCI compliant. You will authenticate your users with Azure Active Directory or with a social login with either Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Microsoft. You can also have IP address restrictions here and manage all the service identities. There's an extensive list of application templates in the Azure Marketplace, so you can get templates from WordPress, Joomla, and even Drupal. Developers love to work on Visual Studio. With Azure Web Apps, you will have dedicated tools in Visual Studio that will streamline the creation of your work, deploying, as well as debugging. Azure Web Apps falls under the serverless portfolio. So you will be running a code or a script on demand without having to explicitly provision or manage infrastructure. That means that you just pay only for the compute time your code actually uses. Azure App Services is API and mobile friendly. That means you get all the platform and features required for authentication, offline data sync, push notifications, and several other features that you'll require for your mobile app. In the next lesson, let's go ahead and learn about more features that we have inside the app service that we just created.